Hi everyone, ברוכים הבאים, bienvenidos, welcome. I'm Gal Macadar, welcome to my show, 30 Minutes of Inspiration. And today's show is very, very special for me. I have a very special guest, Ivana Chubbuck. She's my acting coach, a dear, dear friend, and a true inspiration. So welcome, Ivana. Ivana, you're the founder, the director of the Ivana Chubbuck Studio, and also the Power of the Actor, that I read it in Hebrew, in English, and I need to read it in Spanish. It's like translated to like 12 languages, right?
No, more like 18 at this
18,
point.
wow.
We have versions of Chinese, we have Japanese, we have Mongolian, we have Italian and Danish, and it just goes on and on. So
Wow.
It's been Portuguese. I mean, it's been a true wonderful journey to be able to spread the word of empowerment through the arts, because I think it's really important, and the obligation of the artist, whether you're a dancer, writer, director, actor, whatever it is that the art that you apply, we have an obligation to change the world via the artistic world, which is the most effective. More people watch television, go to movies, than people go to a religious place of worship, because it's something for everyone, and we can allow people faith in themselves, empowerment, not only for the person who is the artist, but for the people that see their art, whatever that art may be. And we need to change the world.
So it's not just a book for actors or writers or directors. It's also empowering other people, a lot of people of business, right? They're using also this book.
Absolutely. What happens is that the concept, the philosophy of the technique is to take pain, trauma, insecurities, fears, and instead of self-destructing with it, using it as fuel to impassion your ability to overcome and achieve whatever that prosperity is, whether it's love, whether it's business, whether it's just a feeling of wanting to get up in the morning and getting excited to get up in the morning.
You wrote something that I really, really love, and I wanted to start it with this, and that's what we're talking about right now. You wrote, one's traumas, insecurities, and fears are an artist's Pandora's box of colors. I love this sentence, and I think it's very, very empowering for people that use their art for, to keep going, and they're using their pain and everything to overcome, and what you always say in class, like to play to win. You never say like, I'm sitting on my pain, it's something that is good. You always says that to take the pain and play to win. So it's something that I want you to talk about, because people sometimes, when they're talking about acting, or they're acting something dramatic or whatever, they think they need to sit on their fears, pains and their fears, and to feel like I'm doing that also. Sometimes I'm playing the victim, and I know that this is not a good thing, that I need to play to win. So that's something that I want you to talk about.
The idea is a choice. Life is filled with choices, right? It's a choice to take a path with the same information. You can either take the path of least resistance, which is to allow defeat and allow sadness to take over from the same information. And then the mark of a dynamic person, the person who, and there are a few dynamic people. There's a reason why there are a few, because it is the path of most resistance to be a winner. Because you have to take the very same information that defeats people and creates an environment of self-destruction to be able to say, I'm going to win in spite of and because of what happened, because of how I feel, and I'm going to and it's going to keep hitting you like brambles on that path, like branches hitting you in the face, or snow or rain, or snakes and spiders and
Corona.
falling, life happening to you in metaphoric terms. And most people just go, no, I'm just going to sit here and try to protect myself, as opposed to saying, I need to protect myself, and I'm going to do that for a moment. And then I'm going to say, okay, how do I win? How do I de-victimize myself? How does that make me a survivor? How does that make me someone special? Because I'm taking things that most people are defeated by, and I'm actually winning with this stuff. I'm actually changing my world and changing other people's worlds around me who are subliminally being inspired by my journey. And so I'm doing something that's hard to do, but there's more satisfaction in being able to do it. If you can get past all those metaphoric spiders and rain and snow and the branches hitting you in the face and all that thing down from that path, then the other side of that is some version of prosperity. So there's a great deal of satisfaction in that, and that you've earned it. So it feels good on so many levels. Not only are you prospering from it, but there's a great deal of giving yourself the credit, like, I did this. And that is worth a lot. I did this. I did this for myself. I didn't need somebody's help. I didn't take everybody's naysayers saying, you can't do this, you got to do this way, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not, you're too old, or you're too fat, or you're too whatever, or too little of this, or too little of that. It's like you're saying, no, I'm not going to let people bring me down, because people will do that. It's just, it's natural to be.
And that doesn't mean that we don't have obstacles, because life always happens and things are going on all the time. But what we love also to see, I think, and watching movies, that's why we go there and we pay money. It's to see people overcoming those obstacles.
Right? This is true of like any job, any relationship that you have. You have to see it as an opportunity to take the things that are confronting you, and there always will be. It's life. Life happens, and what you have to do is see it as an opportunity for growth and change and empowering yourself and your partner, if it is a love story, or empowering yourself and your public, if you're or if you're the head of a corporation, is to empower yourself, and then that allows yourself to empower others. Now, you always know, I have an example I like to use of people who sit and feel sorry for themselves, and it's truthful, honest emotion. It's really, no matter how much you love that person, it's really hard to be around that person, because they're always complaining truthfully, and it's really truthful and it's honest, but they're always complaining about their lives. If we don't want to be around them for free, why would we pay money to see them?
That's right. And also, I think people have this perception about acting sometimes, that we need to act like the truthful thing. And it's not about that. It's not about doing what we do in real life. It's to do sometimes the opposite, what I would do, but I'm not doing it. Like confronting my mother, confronting my father, right?
Exactly. I think the easy way to put it is taking the ordinary and making it extraordinary. Okay, so you're taking the everyday, which happens and is truthful, but it's not particularly interesting to watch or to explore from within as an actor. But it's really to take the ordinary and create extraordinary, which is what the word extraordinary is something delightful for you as the artist to find, but also for your audience to go on the journey with you to figure it out. Because life isn't about when you're doing your art, you shouldn't know the end of a book. You shouldn't know that you're playing the end. You need to earn the end. And you have to, how do I find my way? How do I negotiate life to find my way to explore some version of prosperity by the end of the script? And I'm finding it in real time. So it's scary, because sometimes I'm going to fail. If you don't make really strong, deep, scary choices, risky choices, because risk takers are always people we want to follow their journey. If you're going to fail. You're going to on Mount Everest. There's going to be risk footing, and you're going to slip, and you have to find your way to get back up there, or you fell like 100 feet, and you're going to have to find your way back up there, or find your way back down. The choices have to be made constantly on the fly, And great acting or great writing or any kind of great anything is on the fly. If you plan too much, I find that the disaster for most people's success is this is the plan. And if it doesn't happen this way, then I am a loser. But things never happen in the way you plan it. And if you stand by the plan, you have to put out what you want, do the work to make that happen, and allow life to give you the answers, because they will if you're open to them.
And also, there are a lot of coaches right now, and in America a lot, that they tell you, yeah, you need to plan, you need to do 1, 2, 3, right? It's everything very planned. Like, people want to know how they're going to be successful, how they're going to make their millions. I want you to talk about that a little bit, because people really think that everything needs to be planned. And you are making an extraordinary career, and it didn't start from that at all.
No, I had a plan, and the plan kept failing. I was going to be a famous actress, and it was going to happen this way. I was going to book this part that I was up for, and then that was going to find its way to, the Oscar ultimately, and my acceptance speech on the stage, and how that was all going to find its way, step by step by step, was all planned out. And so that
you
part
had
that
vision of you in the stage with the dress, everything.
No. It was more the plan of how I was going to do. It's like you go to an audition and you go, if I get this role, then this will happen. And then that will get me that, and that will get me that. So I didn't have the vision board. What I had was just the plan. And the plan, once I did not get the role, all of a sudden all fell away, and depression soon ensued. So whenever I tell my actors, I said, I have to get this role, or I can tell you a million stories where that role would have kept you from getting in the way of. This happened to Halle Berry, that there's a role that she thought she really wanted, and she didn't get, because, long story short, she didn't get. And I said, you're going to be so happy you didn't end up getting that. And then what happened was, a couple weeks later, she booked Monsters Ball, of which, had she gotten this thing she'd so desperately wanted, she never would have gotten Monsters Ball. And there was no play. There's a cheap little movie that by accident, like her agent said no, because it was there was no money, and it found its way into the hands of her manager, who said, "This is so great." It just happened by this weird set of circumstances how she got to Monsters Ball. And then they told her, but when her manager went after it, and we had read it and said, this is a great movie, they said, well, she's too pretty for the role. So we had to convince them that pretty had nothing to do with being, with having pain, trauma, and experiencing life in a most horrible way that needs to be overcome. Just because you're pretty doesn't mean you have all these extra benefits from it, because you really don't. You just have a lot of people think you do. So anyway, that happened. But the plan, every time I made it, and then the new plan happened, and the plan never followed its way, and then I got depressed. And so depression makes you not move, makes you do nothing.
We actors know what is depression.
Well, I know, and I'm saying to, if people stop planning, that this part is going to, or this is the way I have to do it, through this television show or this movie, this little role in this movie that I'm going to get, that I'm going to turn this into a big part of, blah, 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 all the things, the plans that actors make generally don't happen. I mean, I would say 99.9% plans for anybody. It's kind of it's a bad way to deal with life, because chances are you're going to be disappointed. And depression ensues, and depression creates a lack of movement, which means you absolutely will not have any kind of success in whatever it is you're trying to go after. But if you let life happen, life's going to happen for you. Just do the work, educate yourself, put yourself in the right places. Take risks in the choices you make within your, the choices you make as the character. Take risks of the choices that you make and how you put yourself out there. Take the parts that you normally would find it would be too scary to take, or other people may judge you from it. Look at that again as something you might want to do. And just let life happen to you, and then grab on for the ride and see where it takes you, because chances are it will take you to the right place. I wanted to be an actress. I thought that was the plan. And that was, and whenever I didn't get a job, or the job didn't pan out to be the big star making role, I got depressed, and then all movement stopped. But when I started teaching as a way to support the acting, I found myself being inspired much more. And it was just happening to me. People were coming to me. People were finding their way to my door. And all of a sudden, I was doing privates, and I created a class, and then
You had much more control.
there's something about control, sweetie. It's really, really not about control. It's about letting life happen. I didn't know I wanted to be a teacher. A teacher was, you know the saying, people who can't teach. But it turns out that I don't want to do. I like teaching. That is the goal. That is, and so if I had planned it to be that way, it never would have been that way. If I had decided I wanted to be an acting teacher, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I probably wouldn't even know you. I mean, and so the thing is, I let that happen. I let it happen because the other plan, I was still working on the other plan that was failing. New plan, failing, new plan, failing, new plan, failing. And then the acting teacher was just going effortlessly, seamlessly, finding its way to success. Money, heart, soul, conversations I never would have had with people that I never would have known, exploring parts with writers, directors, and actors, exploring parts I would never play, so I never would understand that journey of that person. It's to me that I have the most wonderful job in the world, but if I had tried to control it, it wouldn't be the case. The best thing I could say to the people that are watching this is just love what you do, work really hard at what you do, educate yourself, take risks, and just see what happens. Life will find its way. It will come to you. It may not be exactly what you thought you wanted, but that's okay too, because the idea is, it's like, for example, you know who Padma Lakshmi is?
No.
Well, anyway, she's the host of Top Chef.
Oh.
So when she was an actress in class, and so she got this opportunity. She said, "Well, it's not acting." So I don't know. I said, "You got to take this because it's fine. You have a cookbook out there. You like to cook. It is a passion for you, but you thought the plan was to be an actress. So why don't you life is telling you something?" So she took that, and she has all this ancillary stuff, all this marketing. Now she has a news show where she's discovering culture through food.
Wow.
All over the world. And this is exactly who she is, and what she never would have done. She was going to say no to them. I told them let life happen. You don't know where you're going to find what your passion is, and it could be the most craziest thing. Who knew that her big dreams that she wanted would come from hosting a cooking show at the time that nobody cared about?
And what do you say to people that are watching that they want to be actresses, and they having this thing that it's very hard, you don't have control, because sometimes you have a great audition, but you go in and they don't pick you because there are a lot of reasons why, and it's not because of you.
Well, sometimes it is.
And sometimes it is, of course.
Sometimes you have to take responsibility for the fact that maybe you didn't bring it as well as somebody else brought it. That means you have to educate yourself more. That means you have to study more. That means you have to kind of look at. I tell people whenever they hear this person was good, but they weren't the right type over and over again, then it's something to do with their acting ability. Because I've had, like with Charlize Theron, her first important job, which was Devil's Advocate, She was the wrong age, the wrong type. She was way too pretty. She was way too young. She's 20. She needed to be a 30-year-old. She's glamorous looking, and they needed a plain girl from Florida with a Floridian accent, or at least an American accent. And so what we did was we just made some really important going for it winner choices. Her parts of victim as the day is long. We took out the victim out of being a victim, made her be a winner with all the depth and the hurt and pain from her real life that we applied towards the character that she was going to overcome within the script. And they couldn't get the audition out of their head. And they kept, and this was a part, like this is a big studio movie opposite Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. And it's like they were seeing people that were big stars who wanted this job. It was a great job. And they couldn't get her audition out of their head. So they just changed the part and what she was supposed to be. I see that happen all the time. So sometimes you have to look at your responsibility of maybe you need to educate yourself more. Natural talent isn't enough. You can have natural talent up your butt, but the thing is that there's a lot of people who don't even have as much natural talent, but they work so hard. It's those greatness is in details, and that's true of everything. It's the details, those little things that create an explosion of of tastes and sounds and colors and all that kind of Pandora's box of colors is that. But if you just go into a mush of your natural talent and the motion of that particular character, what happens is that there's someone else who's going to come in who may not be as naturally talented, but did the work and really explored risk-taking and their need to win and explore growth within the character. That's exciting and inspiring for the casting, for the director, for the producer, and they keep using it over and over and over again, become a part of their crew, you know?
And all your technique is about taking the right choices. And a lot of people ask me, how do I know that I picked the right choice? A lot of people that are watching us.
Okay, well, there's no right or wrong in art. It's with everybody, because the sky doesn't have to be blue, it could be pink with purple polka dots, if that's how you envision it. It's about making choices. All choices are good. Then you have to look at some are more effective, some are less effective. But make choices. All choices are still creating a palette of colors and density of your work. But you have to explore, like writing is rewriting. When you write, you don't just give the first thing that you wrote. Mm-hmm. You rewrite. My book probably has 25 rewrites to it. 4 years to write this book. And if you read what it was originally, it would be hard to read. It was so bad. but I needed that to start from, and boom, 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 boom. Like all things great are practice, of refining, changing, exploration. Like Bill Gates, creating, the computer world, is like he didn't. The first thing he came up with wasn't this big computer.
And with the lights, so many tries, and we see that all the time. So yeah, that's what I want to say also to them, that there is a movie of Woody Allen, What It Works. Sometimes what you do works, sometimes it doesn't work, but you need to take choices. You can't come and be natural, because it's not enough, and you won't get the part like that.
Yeah, right? But you may even get good feedback, but you can't take the feedback to the bank. So I can't pay my bills with that person's really talented. I can't pay my bills with that. So you have to give them the extra, and the extra is hard work. You have to do the work. We're recreating real humanity. So if I'm really trying to really create a real human being who does things like kills people or does things like is cutting off their arm to escape the mountain, big things that are happening. It's like, then I have to fill in all the details of who that person is, how they got there, just same way that profiling does. And the science of profiling is you take what the killing is, what type they kill, what they use to kill, how they kill, how they splay out the body, what they use to wrap them up with, what they do to the body, and it can help you figure out what you can backtrack, whether this person was gay or straight, whether this person has ever been married, this person came from poverty, this person came from what kind of issues they come from in terms of their phobias, their fears, their manias, whatever it is that this person is about. You can see all that by backtracking. What we do in terms of acting is profiling the character on the page the way it is today. How they got there, we're finding the way how the character got there first. Then we figure out how that's personal to us, because there's a certain primal reality that exists with all human beings all over the world. Everybody has the same issues, the same fears, the same insecurities. It's really interesting, very fascinating science, in terms of breaking down the arts regarding humanity and just really truly recreating what people can relate to. I want to watch someone over and over again because that person is me. That person understands my pain. That person, I'm laughing because I've done that stupid thing before. I'm crying because I've been there. So the thing is, you can't lie to your audience and do the best performance, because that's like, I'm not really this character, but I'm playing it really well. Well, that's a lot. And I always tell my actors, I said, do you like being lied to? And people say, no, of course not. And then I say, well, if you're not really going there and being triggered to like live out your part, you're essentially lying to your audience, which is a turnoff to
that's
audience.
why your technique is about, because not all the techniques are like that, but that you use your own pain and your own issues. That's why you decided to go in this way, because you think this is the most efficient to create a role.
I think that the idea that you have lived life, everybody's had stuff happen to them. Everybody has some issues here and there, some worse than others. But there's a richness in that. Well, I think it's so much harder to try to recreate. Like if someone says, I want to be in love with someone, it's not all unicorns and rainbows. It's insecurity. It's fear of rejection. It's fear this is going to fall apart. It's safety. It's a lack of safety. It's a sense of unity. It's a sense of fear that unity will be set apart. There's so many details that you can't imagination recreate. But you have this person that triggers you. And we usually, because in the science of psychology, there's only a few triggers that we have. And it's up to us to figure out what those are. But what's really important, Gal, is that people understand that my technique is about using this information to have catharsis. It's really important, because a lot of people say, isn't it dangerous to sit in all these feelings? And I say, no, if you're using it to explore overcoming those feelings, overcoming the self-destruction and the things that are screwing you up, and using it to like allow some kind of catharsis, a release, so that you can find comfort in your pain. And we can't change the past. Well, you can't change the past. You can't change the past, but we can see it differently. It's a gift that we can use to explore growth with, or it's the enemy that we can be defeated and self-destruct with. I just needed to say that.
No, it's exactly this, because a lot of people ask me about the technique, and they ask me, but it's not hurtful, but you don't feel a shit after that. And it's totally the opposite. I feel better. I feel like a hero.
Lighter.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff that's been weighing you down, and you go like, oh, wait, this is actually not only something that I'm finding catharsis from, but it feels good to be able to take the very thing that has caused me so many years of depression to actually make it cause joy and curiosity. I love curiosity. I think that like I'm a curious person. I want to know more. And so it helps us go, I want to know more about, I was working with someone this morning on coaching them, and I said, don't you want to know more about your dad before he died? And it's like, yeah. And I said, let's figure out how to do that within this scene, and to find out more, to explore it, because she was playing a police officer trying to solve a case. So let's solve the case of, because your father died when you were so young. who was this man before he died? Who was this person that you'd like to know, through another resource of solving this crime? And so, and then of course some personalizations that I couldn't talk about, but
Mhm.
there was crimes involved, emotional crimes, that she had to solve in order to first understand her father's participation in this other person's world. So it's really fascinating too.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting because everybody can play like policeman and take regular choices, but if you bring yourself and your father, how he died, it's everything comes.
So it also allows us to be more empathetic to the abuser, whoever, like if your mother was abusive, like to understand by breaking down the characters, you're playing that character. It's like, oh, to understand that's why she did the things she did, because she must have suffered something like this. And in your exploration, you're finding more sympathy and empathy and forgiveness in your heart for people that perhaps you could never have without this exploration. There's so many pluses in doing it this way.
Yeah, and also
Emotional ka-ching, emotional ka-ching.
I have like to say. No, it's true because right now I feel something in your technique really came to my life because I think this year is like the toughest year of my life, and I think a lot of people are gonna say, me too. Like it started.
The opposite of ka-ching.
Yeah, it's like, so I wanted a kaching, and I feel, yeah, and I feel this technique really gave that to me in my life. So it started, that I was in Israel, and we decided, me and Maya and my husband, to come to LA and to move to LA and to try. And then his mother, we figure out that she has cancer, and then we were going back and forth. So as you said, I had a plan, but this plan, it doesn't matter, life happens and you need to go with that. So we were going back and forth, and then that his mom died, and then what we're gonna do now? Okay, let's go to LA and figure out. Okay, then I had a big job in Mexico of hosting, that it's something that just now it's starting to happen to me. And at the beginning, my manager said, in Israel, no, you're an actress, they won't look you very well if you're a host. But I said, I have this feeling like I love doing that. I don't feel like I'm working, I'm not looking at the watch. I love it. I'm very curious about people, and I love that. So I took this job. We went there 2 hours before it was canceled because of the corona.
Okay.
But okay, we had a free honeymoon. Everything was amazing. And then we came to South America to a wedding, and we are here 3 months already. From 10 days to 3 months, it's like everything is a mess. My apartment, everything. And I think a lot of people feel like that right now with the corona, but I feel that I took a lot of my pain to my work, to start to working on my craft with your online classes and with auditions that I have, and also to start my own show, that it's something amazing for me because I'm doing something that I love, and I don't need to do any audition for that. I just can take my computer and I can do it from wherever. And I feel like you are giving.
Think about Oprah. Think about Oprah's journey. She didn't know she was going to be Oprah, and she didn't. I mean, she just started off going to a little tiny station in Chicago, a very tiny station and a very tiny job, and she just let life happen. And she was up for Oscars. I mean, she's been acting. She's producing. She has her own network. I mean, just think about. It just started off so I will guarantee you, Oprah did not plan for any of that to happen. It just happened by her allowing God, the powers that be, whatever you believe in, to find its way to wherever your destiny was supposed to be. And when you fight you fight your destiny by saying, no, it's supposed to happen this way, then your destiny is not allowed to find its way and to breathe within your future. And so
So
in order,
let
yeah, so
go.
what you do, yeah, so
Yeah.
to
No,
let
I'm a
go.
very controlling person. My aunt says that about me, the Jewish inside of me. But yes, I'm letting things happen to me, and it's also step number 12 in your book. Let
Let it go.
go, right? That this is a very hard thing to do.
Well, it's hard, but you have to have all the work done before you can let it go.
Of
So
course.
the idea is you can't just like say, I'm going to let God or the powers that be or what we believe in, okay, smite me while I'm sitting in my bathroom going, waiting for, when is God showing up? So you have to do the work first.
Of
You have
course.
to do the work and then it will find its way however it's supposed to find its way. And what it is that it's going to find its way, how and what are the wonderful surprises of life. And what we're all going through right now, which in terms of I'm hoping to inspire not only your people who are watching this, but myself as well, because the worst thing about the future is the unknown. Now we've created, with the reality of a pandemic, it's even more unknown. And so we're magnifying exponentially the unknown fear quotient that is creating all kinds of things that look, the whole demonstrations that are happening about Black Lives Matter and Black people, even though they're not slaves anymore, they might as well be because they're treated like animals. It's like never would have happened without the pandemic. And so that needed to happen for that to happen because people just say enough. And so who would have thought if they had planned, well, we're going to have marches, but the next time some Black person dies in a most horrible way, which would happen to Floyd, is that, and then we're going to march and we're going to do all this stuff and we're going to have demonstrations and we're going to have people all over the world demonstrating with us. And you couldn't have planned that. And it couldn't have happened without the hitting bottom of the pandemic, because without that, it was like, you know what? What do we have to lose? We could die tomorrow. All of a sudden, that reality of like so many things. I don't know if I have a job in the coming months. I don't know where my money's coming from. I don't know if I'm going to get this disease or a loved one's going to get this disease and I'm going to lose a very important person to me. Is that it's the unknown created an environment where people could actually change the world. So
It's also an opportunity, you say.
Yeah, well, it's what you have to do is just do the work of whatever it is that you think you want to do. Do the work, educate yourself, make risky choices, be bold in your forward motion and being proactive. But then let things happen because they're going to, and things will happen and take you to a place that you never thought, or a place and how it got you there, the place you knew you wanted. How you got there is always the surprise. It's always like, when we do the emotional diaries, I always say, what were you surprised about? Because I always find that's the most like important, like the aha moments are what came up in your subconscious that was like a surprise to you. And that's the gold. Surprises are gold.
When you're saying that, I'm like, it's then you become curious about life and less fear, because you're like, what's going to happen now? Like everything can change. So
Yes.
we don't know.
But you see how you even light up when you say that? I become curious, and then when you talk about like everything is really bad, and about my aunt's mother, and then about the pandemic and all this other, this year has been horrible. Your face went into, and your body went into like this in protection mode, which is what happens is there's a bit of a defeat and like, it is what it is. I can't deal with it. Or you could look at it as like how I was looking at this the marches and all the things of changing bigotry, very important bigotry all over the world, and this bigotry all over the world, and having people as a universe, people supporting this. It's not just our country's problem; it's a problem universally, and then the human support system. Again, they couldn't have happened if we didn't have the pandemic, and so it's like that you open up the door to possibilities, not necessarily probabilities, but possibilities that make you curious, that make you want to investigate, and that makes you lighter. But you even like you sat up taller. Your skin tone became more like vibrant, and it's like, yay, life can happen.
Yeah.
But it's true, and it's like, and I have to say that for myself. I'm not immune to being depressed. I'm not immune to anxiety. I have plenty of both. But I also then say, I call it my morning, my pity party. I have my morning, and then I say, okay, that life sucks. It's over. I might as well kill myself. And then I go into, okay, now what do I need to do? Now, what have I learned from this? What do I need to do to change things? How can I help other people? That helps me, because if I empower you, I empower myself. Yeah. If I empower my students, and you've watched me teach often enough, whether it's Zoom or it's in class or in the big workshops, the overseas workshops, and you see that I blossom, because your empowerment, your changes, your growth is mine. I take that 100%.
Yes, you learn from your students as well, and you are inspired by them. We need you, and you need us. Like, it's a mutual thing. Okay, let's talk about comedy. What do you say?
Hey, comedy. Okay.
So we're in our comedy show right now. For me, you're the queen of the comedy. You really, for me, it was like a aha moment, a chicken, like you said, because you said to me, like, take your real pain, your real fear, and for comedy. And people think sometimes comedy is to try to be funny, and it's not about that.
Or it's lighter than drama. It's not. It's
darker. It's comedy, fun. I'm gonna no, but when I do comedy, sometimes when I have audience, I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, I'm crying my ass out here. I feel so bad. I don't understand. So I want you to talk about that a little bit to people understand what is real comedy.
When we look back at some of the things that make us laugh at our own things that we've done in the past, and the harder we laugh in our present day about something stupid we did in the past, at the time was really tragic. At the time, it was horrible and devastating, and you were in a really dark place, and you did crazy stuff to deal with that, the darkness and the desperation. And then we look back on it, and we go, that was so weird. It was so funny. I can't believe I did that. But that's the audience is watching, and they're watching, and you're acting it. You have to act it from the place that got you to make audiences go, oh, I've done that. I can't believe that person's doing what I did. And so you laugh, and the more you feel that it's a relatable reality, that dark, crazy place, the desperate place we go, that character is going to, that you've been there, and this makes it the harder you laugh, because you go, oh my God, I'm not alone. I can't believe that time, and you go back into your memory, and you remember your own stupid stuff, and that includes things like doing some really high comedy, like doing something like Jim Carrey doing Dumb and Dumber. It was about his loneliness. It was about wanting to have a relationship. It was about him feeling like he wasn't smart enough and good enough and worthy of finding love. And so he really broke it down to a place of really making it be about, I need to find love, or I'm desperate. This loneliness is too hard for me. And so from that came very large comedy and a large paycheck ultimately for future reference, because that was for more early days of his work. But the issue is that comedy is based in your anger, your desperation, dark needs, that you're willing to do anything to get whatever it is that you want, because you're so desperate, you're in such a needy place, that it creates behavior that people laugh at because they relate to it. Now, when you said, I always tell people, you're always done the best comedy when people are laughing, and you're going, why are they laughing? It's not fucking funny to me, and so that's the best comedy. So when people do comedy, I'm working with someone in class doing comedy, and they're being so, well, this is comedy, so I thought this would be lighter, and I said, no, the opposite. I want you to see it as the deepest, darkest drama that you need to win that you've ever done. It's deeper and darker than any drama that you've ever seen or done, and then funny ensues.
And sometimes we take I know that about me, sometimes, you have an audition, you take the text, and you're doing like something that is quite normal, but sometimes in life, you're not normal, and you're overreacting, and you're, very desperate, and that's what's funny. And I was remembering you about 3 days ago that Mayan went to our other house, and I told him, listen, I have some earrings and some like very important stuff. I think it's in the drawer. So can you take them for me? And I got stolen 3 times in my life from people that I know. So I have a really, really big issue with that. Mm-hmm. And he calls me and he said, I don't find anything. And from this second, like my heart went down. And no! I started to run all over the house here by myself, screaming, no, oh my God, opening drawers and taking out, no, it doesn't happen to me again, like this, like all overreacting. And if I had the text, maybe I wouldn't do this specific thing about that, because I would say, maybe I'm overreacting, but this is real, like, Mayan was laughing about me like crazy. I was crying like crazy. And now I'm laughing about it, but then it wasn't funny at all. So,
and to us, it's really, really important. And that's why comedy can't be judged like this. Well, nobody would be freaked out about what's on the page. And it's like, you got to make it so. I had a situation where I was having a bad day, and I was looking forward to having some lamb chops as my comfort food, and I had it in the refrigerator hidden behind something so nobody could get it. So I come home waiting for my lamb chops. Literally, they're gone. And so I started screaming. I really screaming, where are my lamb chops? Who's got my lamb chops? And so it turned out the nanny had eaten them. She's from Australia, and at the time, it was a long time ago. The nanny had eaten them because, we like lamb chops from Australia. And anyway, she said, I'm sorry, do you want me to go to the market to get you some more? I said, no, it's not the same. They're not the lamb chops I picked and I hid. Could you tell that I hid them? That I hid them away? I put them behind something? Couldn't you, wouldn't that figure out that that's something that I didn't want anybody else to eat? Like, it was insane what I was saying. And I wouldn't let her go to the store. She could have easily, the store's like 3 blocks away. I could have had her buy some new lamb chops, but it was not the same lamb chops. But that really happened. And so that's the thing about comedy. And it's like, if you were to see me running around the house screaming about my lamb chops.
Exactly like that. And then Mayan is like, it's here behind your pen. I'm like, you're an idiot!
I knew a new rampage happened. A new spit out.
And then he came home with the box, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I reacted like that.
More tears. So it's like more. So it just became a series of funny moments.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, I'm reading right now a very interesting book. I don't know if you know it, the 5 a.m. Club of Robin Sharma. Well, it's about waking up at 5 a.m. I didn't try it yet because I didn't finish the book, but he says that the people that work the best and they write and the artists, they wake up very, very, if you wake up very early when everybody's sleeping, it's a a good place to create, and your mind is
I
like,
wrote my book from 6 in the morning till 10 in the morning every day, even when I was on vacation. That was the time. The appointment was 6 in the morning till 10 in the morning, 4 hours straight, just writing the book. And
amazing.
this is true of vacation time. That was the time set aside. It had to be from 6 in the morning till 10 in the morning, and unless it was extreme circumstances. But I believe in that. I do my best work in the morning. I wake up early. I wake up usually at 6 in the morning every day.
The best people are waking up at this time, so I will try that when I finish the book. It takes me time to, to process and everything. But I read something very interesting that I wanted to read it for you, and it reminded me a lot of things that you say. The intention of a lot of artists is on the cash and not on their craft. Their intention is on the fame, so that's why they never build the higher awareness that will help them make the better choices, that will give them the better results, that will make them the legends in their field. And I heard you saying a lot of times that it's not about the money, it's not about the fame. People know that, but they don't really know that.
I always say it has to be gravy. It has to be. It happens. It's like with the time. To me, the message is most important in terms of what I do. So when I die, my legacy isn't Ivana Chubbuck. My legacy is the philosophy behind the Chubbuck technique, and so it's the idea of leaving the message behind, and then money may or may not come, but it was never the issue. And I think that whenever people make it be about wanting to be a star, I said, you're never going to make it, because you have to make it about doing great work, being proud of your work. And it's not, and the jobs that you take generally that are money gigs are generally the things that are going to bring you down. The reason why they're giving you all this money. Now, every so often you get a money gig that's also a good gig, but the point is, it can never be about the money, because it becomes about something that's of the earthly plane, and we want to make things, we want to change the world, and we can't do that from the earthly plane. We have to do it from something that has a message attached to it, that comes from your heart, your soul, your third eye, your enlightenment. There's nothing tangible about those. Money is tangible, and if it's about the earthly plane, there's a really good chance that you. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've yet to see it. So there could be an exception that makes the rule, but I've never seen anybody really make it, other than the ones that really wanted to be proud of their work and explore greatness in their craft. And then money came, and for pretty much everybody. I mean, if you just don't think about it, it's not really earthly plane stuff. Is for the weak. I need to have something tangible for me to understand. It's like that's for the weak and the fearful.
And
But
it's
the
not
fearless.
the money, it's also the fame right now with Instagram, and it's becoming crazy.
Well, there's a reason why the people who are like high Instagram, have a lot of followers, they can't transition to being actors. They keep trying over and over and over again. There's not one person that's been able to transition into acting, not for lack of trying, that were big social media stars, because the concepts are different. To the fame from the social media is all about yourself. It's narcissistic. It's a narcissistic reality. And it's also fleeting, because ultimately that's not going to mean anything. But the people who are actors or the true arts, because social media is technology, true arts of any kind, it's about communicating with your audience, about communication. It's about you, not about me. And so fame is about me. Fame is all narcissism, which ultimately fades away in terms of appeal to an audience. But longevity of career, longevity of feeling you're doing something on this planet, is not going to come from that kind of fame. It's going to come from the accidental fame that happens when you have a message that you want to put out that means something more than a tangible earthly need.
Amen.
And for both of us to just like to think on that, because it's interesting about the early morning stuff, the fact that it really is, to me, you're coming out of a place of sleep, that you are not encumbered by something that's just happened, that's going to color and color your visuals to be as pure as they can be when you first wake up in the morning.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's like there is a pureness in the air, I feel, and less anxiety for me.
Anxiety builds up as the day goes on because stuff happens.
Yeah. We're gonna finish with a little game. Not a game, but it's 10 questions that James Lipton, my beloved James Lipton, that passed away 3 months ago. He was doing the Inside Actor Studio. That is one of my best favorite shows. I love it. We don't have shows like that anymore, and I'm gonna ask you some questions that he used to ask great people.
I'm ready. I'm getting ready. I'm ready to answer some questions.
You're spontaneous, so
should I use it like Jeopardy? Go.
What is your favorite word?
Epiphany.
Wow. You sound like the Queen Elizabeth. What is your what is your least
having like a grand thought, having like a aha moment? Those are great.
What is your least favorite word?
Victim.
What turns you on?
The usual. Imagine what you will. Fill in the blank with your own fantasies and apply them into this.
What turns you off?
Giving up.
What sound or noise do you love?
Summer noise, you said?
Sound or noise?
Oh, sorry, summer noise. Very, very specific. Noise only in the summer. Okay. Sound or noise that I like, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Classical music.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Leaf blowers.
What?
Leaf blowers. You know that thing with the gardeners and they blow the leaves around. I feel like I just want to stab myself. I want to stab them. It's the most annoying noise ever. Leaf blow.
And they're everywhere.
Yeah, no, but the leaf blowers like with but here's the thing. You think, and this is I say every time I hear him, and I don't know why this doesn't get old for me, but I always say, like, with all the technology, with all the things that we have, we can't make a quiet leaf blower. We can't make one that doesn't make all that noise. Jeez.
Hard job. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck. Motherfucker. No, motherfucker. No, I like motherfucker.
I love
like the whole thing. It's very Quentin Tarantino. A bunch.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, I am doing this already, but like I'm, comedy writer. but
You're right.
I've done that before. I mean, I used to write for TV Guide, the comedy articles. I also wrote for Cheech and Chong at Universal Studios, and
Mhm.
and now I'm writing my memoirs, which are meant to be funny. And so, but that would be something couldn't do this. I wouldn't. One of the things I wanted to do growing up was write funny commercials. Because like they're so brilliant in 30, 60 seconds. You could have some of the funniest stuff, but the comedy commercials.
I told you, for me, you are the queen of the comedy, so you can totally do that.
So I'm ahead. I'm ahead for the alternate profession.
What profession you would not like to do?
Be a police officer.
Yeah, and nowadays. Okay, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive to the pearly gates?
You done good. And all that. You done good. It means a lot. A lot of different meanings to that.
Thank you so much, Ivana, for being here with us. A lot of people are expecting this interview, and you're amazing, and keep empowering people all over the world. Thank you so much.
And thank you for allowing me to speak and babble on. I love you. You know that.
Yeah, I do too. I love you.